Being a drill rapper comes with a ton of drama, so much that some in the game have put out warning signs.
If you're not in it, don't force your way in it. Don't do this. Just to take everything you love away from it.
And that makes you wonder, what happens when they step outside that turf and get caught lacking by the wrong people? As was the case with Quando Rondo here.
Oh my God, it is Quando, y'all. It's got to be. They talking about it was the rapper that performed at the Vibe, at the club. They talking about it was Quando.
From King Von, who got tragically shot while out in Atlanta for a performance.
According to GBI, rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued.
To FBG Duck, who was gunned down while shopping in one of the wealthiest areas of Chicago.
Cheryl, tonight friends say it was a Chicago rapper who was gunned down here on one of Chicago's ritziest streets. They say 2 other people were also shot when 4 gunmen, witnesses say, jumped out of cars and fired from just a few feet away.
These are the rappers who stepped into the wrong hood and didn't make it out. Starting off with King Von. He had been going back and forth with NBA YoungBoy's camp for a minute, with both sides throwing subliminal shots online.
Young boy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
He talking crazy on this man.
Oh yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On this man.
On this
Like cap. You got cap in your raps.
Park right here.
So when Von and his old block crew spotted one of YoungBoy's affiliates, things escalated fast.
So I'm letting this group come by. Next thing you know, a hit me.
Just after midnight on November 5th, 2020, Von had tweeted about performing at Club Opium in Atlanta. While he was there, he even retweeted a Jungian Ace lyric with a caption that made it clear he and his squad were on the hunt that night. At the same time, Quando Rondo and his crew happened to be in town, fresh off a music video shoot.
Quando Rondo also talks about the night and all the incidents that led up to him even being in the parking lot that night. You know, he had filmed the video that day. There's a lot more behind the story of what he was doing before he got to that parking lot, but he was not trying to go out.
After finishing his show, instead of heading back to his Airbnb, Von decided to make a detour and pull up to where Quando Rondo was hanging out.
He went over there to the after party, and then his driver and his homeboy let us know that we was redirected. We're thinking we're gonna go to the Airbnb or the hotel.
Things popped off instantly. A confrontation turned into a brawl, fists flying from both sides. That's when Quando's homie Lil Tim pulled out a gun and let off shots. In the chaos, Von and one of his close friends ended up losing their lives.
Von gets out of the car, goes straight for Quando, and just starts hitting him with absolutely no provocation.
6 other people got hit and had to be rushed to the hospital. The whole situation made headlines immediately.
According to GBI, rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued.
The next day, Lil Tim was arrested and charged with Von's murder. The media jumped all over the story, painting Lil Tim as the guy who took out one of Chicago's most infamous rappers.
A 22-year-old man named Timothy Leaks is reportedly facing felony murder charges in connection with the death of King Von.
But the streets saw it differently. If this had gone down in Old Block, it probably would have been a whole different story. Word is Von had snipers posted up on the roofs back home. If this happened there, Lil Tim might not have even made it to his gun.
Good money, they got on the roof, making sure everybody come in and now we know what's going on. They should situate.
Really? On the roof?
Yeah, they keep niggas on the roof.
Jesus, did you feel safe? Did you kind of like...
Nah, super safe.
But in Atlanta, Von wasn't in his territory, and that left him exposed. Still, taking out someone like King Von wasn't gonna come without consequences. Von had rapped about it himself. If he ever got killed, his people would be sliding every day to raise the murder rate.
And if I should die, I'm boosting the murder rate. Go slide every.
And sure enough, the attempts on Quando Rondo's life started coming in fast. Quando didn't exactly make things easier for himself either. Instead of laying low, he added fuel to the fire by dropping a song called End of Story, where he basically justified Von's death, claiming self-defense.
I still ain't got my point across. If the shoe was on the other foot, they wanna.
One of the most disrespectful lines in the track said, "Blood on your brother on the ground, go and pick your mans up." He also rapped that Von shouldn't have put his hands on him, and even taunted about a supposed $1 million bounty that had been placed on his head.
Your brother on the ground gon' pick your mans up. Downright we screaming self-defense, you should've never tied the A. Men on my head, that's what they say. That's all you got, just make it A. Come wanna bone me, bite the back.
If people weren't already out to get him, that definitely put a target on his back, and it didn't take long for the first attempt on his life to happen.
Death threat all you want to, man, bro. That's just some words, man. Do be an action.
Quando was in Waycross, Georgia, performing at a show. On the way back, while he and his entourage were parked at a gas station, shots started ringing out from across the street.
Oh my God, it is Quando, y'all. It's got to be. They talking about it was the rapper that performed at the Vibe, at the club. They talking about it was Quando.
Over 100 bullets were fired at them. At least one person in his crew got hit and had to be taken to the hospital while Quando managed to escape. Videos of the aftermath started popping up all over social media. In one clip, a woman at the scene mentioned how loud the gunfire was and even walked up to bullet markers left by the police.
Look at all them bullets. Yeah, they got down picking up bullets.
But that wasn't the last attempt on Quando's life. Fast forward to August 2022, Quando had just landed in LA with his crew, which included his sister and his cousin, Lil Pop. They stopped at a gas station, and that's when the next hit came. Gunshots rang out, and this time, Lil Pop wasn't as lucky.
Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV.
Quando was inside the car when it happened, but Pop was outside when the bullets started flying. He got hit, and while Quando once again walked away without a scratch, his cousin didn't make it. The whole thing was caught on camera, and footage showed Quando in complete shock, breaking down after realizing his cousin was gone.
Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off.
King Von's death caught a lot of people off guard, but what happened to Lil JoJo was even crazier. Unlike Von, JoJo basically told his ops exactly where to find him.
This would be Gangster Disciple territory. This is where JoJo got killed over a year ago yesterday. He's a Gangster Disciple.
He had been in that life heavy, and even though he wasn't directly linked to the BDs from O Block, he grew up around guys like Lil Reese and Lil Durk. At first, there was no real beef between them, just different affiliations. But all that changed when a fight at a basketball court between dudes from Lamrine and Brick Squad turned personal.
This is a big heavy area right here of the BDs, Black Disciples. The Gangster Disciples start over here, and this is where the fight comes in, right along here.
Things started heating up after that, and on March 28th, 2012, Lil Durk dropped a track called L's Anthem.
Don't trust them. Brick Squad, I say fuck 'em. We're world with them, so fuck 'em.
That song took direct shots at Brick Squad, and JoJo took it personally. When he and his brother Swag Dinero heard it on the radio, JoJo was instantly ready to respond.
He didn't really want to rap until he heard Lil Durk's song, that L's Anthem. Cause we heard it on the radio, like we driving, you know? It was me and him, I remember we driving, boom. He said, Brick Squad, we say f*** 'em. Like this on the radio. Hey, you talking about f*** on the radio? Man, he went crazy, fool, he ain't like that. He said, you heard that, bro? Hell no, we finna go crazy, that's it. After that, shoot, he was going crazy, bro.
He wasn't even rapping like that at the time, but that diss track motivated him to hit the booth and fire back. On April 27th, 2012, JoJo dropped BDK 300K, a remix of Chief Keef's Every Day.
These claim 300, but we BDK.
This was an all-out declaration of war against the entire Black Disciple gang. JoJo went straight at Chief Keef, Lil Reese, Lil Durk, and everyone affiliated with him. He even name-dropped Durk directly rapping. Durk saved Brick Squad, so I can't wait to catch him. Squeeze this effing 40, now they got him on a stretcher.
Durk say fuck Brick Squad, so I can't wait to catch him. Squeeze this fucking 40, now they...
That track made JoJo a top target in the city. By going after 300 and the whole BD movement, he put himself in serious danger. But instead of backing down, he doubled down. He kept dropping diss tracks and talking reckless online.
What was the O Block reaction to that song? What was, you living in O Block, what was the initial reaction like?
Like, the initial reaction was,
he finna die.
Then, on September 4th, 2012, JoJo made the move that sealed his fate. At around 4:04 p.m., he and his crew rode through his rival's turf again. Reports say Lil Reese was in the area and JoJo didn't hesitate to mock him. Apparently, Reese even told JoJo directly, "I'ma kill you," making it clear that things weren't just about music anymore.
Yeah! What's wrong with you? Hey, I am Brick Squad! Brick Squad, boy! What you talking about, boy?
JoJo wasn't fazed at all. Instead, he went online and posted, "I am out here on my 2 feet, where you at?" He was calling them out, making sure everyone knew he wasn't ducking smoke. Then, around 6:13 p.m., he made his final mistake. He tweeted his exact location. "I'm on 069, I'm out here." Not long after, his ops pulled up. Surveillance footage from the area later backed up what happened. JoJo was riding on the handlebars of a bike while someone else pedaled. 3 cars sped up behind him. When JoJo turned around and saw what was happening, he tried to get away, but it was too late. The person riding the bike with him jumped off and ran in the opposite direction right before JoJo got shot. The footage later showed police arriving at the scene. And as if Lil JoJo's case wasn't crazy enough, another wild situation of someone exposing their location and paying the price was Foolio. Foolio had just turned 26 in June and decided to celebrate by throwing a pool party. Naturally, he went on Instagram to share the location, letting his followers know where the party was at.
The pool party start today at 5, 6 o'clock. If you already got the address, pull up, man. You got the address, pull up. If you need the address, DM me right now. The pool party start at 5.
But as the day went on, things took a turn. According to his Instagram posts, it seems he had to switch locations to a Holiday Inn because, as one of his posts stated, the police had kicked him out of the original spot. And that's where his enemies came hunting.
We just got here, bruh. You got to add it. You got to add it, man. Push up. We just got to this bit. Tampa, Florida, man.
The group responsible for Foolio's murder consisted of Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, Sean Gathright, Davion Murphy, and Rashad Murphy. Together, they orchestrated one of the most poorly executed crimes in recent memory. The real drama unfolded at their final destination, Holmes II Suites. After Foolio left the club, the Chevy Cruze stayed on his tail and led the Impala right to him. When Foolio parked, the Cruze circled his car a few times, clearly scoping the area and giving a signal for the Impala to close in.
Shows how 2 suspect vehicles continued to follow Jones, just as they did at Teasers, and eventually to the Home 2 Suites near USF.
They're approaching the victim's position on foot.
Once in position, Gathright and the Murphys opened fire with a handgun and 2 rifles, killing Foolio. His car sped off, but the damage was already done.
Show 3 shooters firing several shots at the vehicle Jones was riding in, killing him.
Thinking they had pulled off the perfect plan, these guys couldn't have been more wrong. People couldn't help but point out how comically stupid this crew was. Take Davion Murphy, for example. He was the last to be apprehended after being on the run for over 6 months.
5th person wanted in connection with the murder of Jacksonville rapper Julio Foolio is finally in custody.
He was found right here in Jacksonville. Police had been looking for Davion Murphy for more than 6 months.
Before he was finally arrested, people joked that he must have been the best at hide and seek because he managed to evade the cops for so long. Some even thought he had skipped town or was hiding across the country. But turns out Davion was still out in Jacksonville, making sure his reputation as a crash dummy stayed intact. While on the run, this guy had the audacity to hop into audio chat rooms, not just arguing, but sending threats like the cops wouldn't catch wind of it.
Hey, Davion Murphy, get off the faces. I told your ass you got one more time.
Oh my God.
Man, your house empty, your house echoing. You in a bundle sleeping right now. Just turn yourself in, bro. I'm gonna make you crash. I'm gonna make you go to jail.
I'm outside right now. Tell him I'm on 13th. Outside, standing outside right now.
But what really takes the cake is what happened after he got arrested. Davion managed to outdo himself in stupidity. During an interrogation, he got so upset when a detective called his shooting skills rookie level that he decided to reenact how he killed Foolio on camera.
He puts out his arms like this,
and it appears that he's brandishing a rifle with one hand extended and one, what I would consider the trigger finger, and he's holding it like this in front of him, and then he starts going, boop, 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 boop. And then he walks around, and then he does it again. And he does it multiple times.
But if you think Murphy takes the crown for stupidity, wait till you hear about Sean Gathright. This guy's story somehow manages to be even more baffling. Sean wasn't just tied to the killing of Foolio, he was also behind that earlier incident where Foolio got shot in the foot.
Do not mind the way my toes look. I can't wash my feet. Flip it right now, but look, ain't God good?
In new court documents, investigators say there's evidence linking one accused killer of Charles Jones, also known as Julio Foolio, to a previous attempt at killing him last year.
What's even wilder is that Sean's involvement in all of this doesn't even make sense. Unlike most of the others in this case, Sean wasn't some gang member with a long list of enemies or someone with a personal vendetta against Foolio. No, Sean was a cameraman. So why on earth was this guy hunting Foolio down? Nobody knows. It's like he threw himself into this beef for absolutely no reason. And if you thought that was bad, just wait, it gets worse. What's dumber than getting caught up in drama you got no business being in? Using your mom's car to carry out a hit, that's what. Sean Gathright borrowed his mom's car and drove it all the way to Tampa to kill Foolio.
That'd be the first time we ever seen this. You went and did a hit in your mama car? Who did that? When it turned the keys in here, mama? Thank you for letting me use the car. She don't even know you did a whole murder in her car.
But it gets even crazier. As if driving your mom's car wasn't bad enough, Sean managed to take it a step further. After the job was done, he didn't clean up or get rid of the evidence. No, he left shell casings in the car. And not just any shell casings, these were from the night he shot Foolio in the foot. So when the cops searched the car, it was like a jackpot of evidence. Those casings directly linked him to that earlier shooting, practically gift wrapping his connection to the crime for investigators. And that's still not the dumbest part. When the cops kept digging, they found even more shell casings in his mom's car. Turns out those were tied to another murder that happened in May 2024.
These documents also show that investigators say that one of the gunmen involved in this case was found with shell casings related to an attempt to shoot and kill Jones last October.
Then there's Isaiah Chance. Just a few days after Foolio's murder, while the police were scrambling for any leads or evidence, Isaiah decided it was a good idea to drop some hints on a Twitter space. He hinted at catching a big fish, like he was so smart he could speak in code and get away with it.
Don't you up, you got bigger fish to fry.
You with the fish? I just twisted that bit so bad, bro. I don't got no fish to fry. I done threw my net out there and you hear me? Come on now.
Keep talking for FBI.
The whole crew was reckless beyond belief, and now they're all reaping the consequences of their stupidity. Foolio exposing his location wasn't the wisest move, but FBG Duck's death was an even greater shock because no one saw it coming. In 2020, FBG Duck was gunned down in broad daylight in the Gold Coast, one of the wealthiest areas of Chicago. In the middle of the afternoon, 2 cars filled with shooters pulled up and unleashed over 40 shots in Duck's direction.
I knew for sure this was gunshots.
CPD would later determine someone fired those shots at Chicago rapper FBG Duck.
The Gold Coast is far from the streets where you'd expect this kind of violence, so the murder sent shockwaves across Chicago. Eventually, everyone involved in Duck's killing was charged and convicted, facing life sentences for their roles in the brutal murder.
Alleged members of Chicago's O-Block gang have been convicted in the 2020 murder of a rapper known as FBG Duck. Duck's real name was Carlton Weekly.
But even though the killers got apprehended, it wasn't enough for the streets. Duck had been well loved within his community, and his close friend FBG Young took to social media soon after, vowing that get back was coming.
I mean, this how that shit go. This shit come with that stuff. Niggas they gonna diss and disrespect anyway.
The first individual rumored to be a casualty in the retaliation cycle was Lil Durk's brother, Didang. On June 5th, 2021, Dithang was reportedly leaving Club O and heading toward his car when things took a deadly turn. Allegedly, he got into a heated argument with a group of people outside, and in the midst of the chaos, a gun was drawn. D-Thang was fatally shot in the head and died instantly.
Multiple shots were fired and lots of weapons were found at the scene. Dante Banks was killed when he was shot in the head. Banks is the older brother of locally known rapper Lil Durk.
But D-Thang wasn't the only person to fall victim to this wave of violence following Duck's death. One of the major hits that was allegedly part of the get back for FBG Duck was on his longtime rival, Edai 600. Edai and Duck had a long-standing beef, and the tension had been brewing for years. Back in 2011, Edai dropped a diss track called Thft TB, where he didn't hold back, taking direct shots at Duck with lines like, "Lil Duck better duck for a dump and leave you slumped in a trunk. Is you drunk? Dissing me? You must be dumb."
Little duck, better duck before I dump and leave you slumped in a trunk. Is you drunk? Dissing me? You must be dumb.
Duck, of course, fired back with his own diss track, Edai Is You Serious, where he rapped, "My dude told me don't show no sympathy for Edai. I will chop his effing body up and throw it on the E-way. I will murder this little dude like Cassidy did Freeway."
And my niggas told me don't show no sympathy for E-Day. I will chop her f***ing body up and throw it on the E-way.
But the streets don't forget, and eventually Get Back came knocking on Edai's door. On July 31st, 2021, Edai was caught lacking at the intersection of 72nd Street and South Bennett Avenue. The ops rolled up and lit him up, hitting him multiple times in the chest and stomach. He didn't make it. And things didn't stop there though. The next person to fall in this ongoing cycle of violence was Thft TB, an FBG rival who got caught lacking in one of the most brutal and heartless ways imaginable. In February 2024, TB was walking near Madison and Long on the west side with his girl and 2 kids, holding what looked like a school project. In the blink of an eye, 2 men ran up, pulling out guns and unleashing a barrage of shots. TB was rushed to the hospital, but the damage was done. He didn't survive. FBG Duck's death was insane, but another case of an unexpected tragedy was Notti Osama. His story hit different because of how young he was, just 14 years old. Notti, whose real name was Ethan Reyes, was an OY, original Youngins drill rapper from New York, and he lost his life in a stabbing incident that no one saw coming.
A 15-year-old boy has been charged with killing another teen on a subway platform yesterday.
Condolences are pouring in as loved ones leave flowers at the doorstep of slain teen Ethan Reyes. Residents in his quiet Yonkers neighborhood tell us the family only moved to the block in recent months.
It all went down on July 9th, 2022. Notti was walking near 137th Street and Broadway with 2 of his homies when they ran into a 15-year-old named Kelvin Martinez. Martinez was just minding his business, heading into the subway station to catch an uptown train. But once he crossed paths with Notti and his crew, things took a turn. A fight broke out fast. Notti had a broomstick with him, his makeshift weapon, and he and his boys started pressing Martinez. But what they didn't know was that Martinez wasn't empty-handed either. Realizing he was outnumbered and had no way out, he pulled out a knife and swung, stabbing Notti right in the abdomen.
Investigators say Martinez was cornered by Reyes and a friend, and they started beating him with the broomstick. Police say it was at that point that Martinez stabbed Reyes in the stomach.
It was just after 3 p.m. when the cops got the call about the stabbing at the subway station. They pulled up quick and found Notti bleeding out on the platform of the northbound 1 train. They rushed him to Mount Sinai Morningside Hospital, but despite everything the doctors tried, it was too late. Notti didn't make it.
After 3 o'clock, and when they got here, they discovered the 14-year-old boy stabbed in the abdomen on the northbound 1 train platform. They say he was rushed to Mount Sinai St. Luke's, but unfortunately it was too late.
Given how public the attack was, the police knew they had to act fast before things spiraled. At a press conference soon after, NYPD Transit Chief Jason Wilcox let everyone know they had it under control.
MTA camera footage from that station provided clear images of individuals who were present at the time of the incident.
They had crystal clear surveillance footage of the whole incident, so it wasn't long before they tracked Martinez down. Cops patrolling the area spotted him near West 173rd Street and Broadway, and when they took him in, they realized he hadn't walked away from the fight unscathed either. He had injuries on his back and 2 puncture wounds on his hip.
That individual was stopped and taken into custody. At the time, he was bleeding from his back and abdomen and brought to an area hospital to be treated.
But what really made the situation worse was how the streets reacted. Instead of letting Notti's people mourn, his enemies saw his death as an opportunity to clown him, and they took it to the absolute extreme. The most blatant disrespect came in the form of a song called Notti Bop. The track, made by Kyle Rich featuring Tata and Jen Carter, straight up mocked how Notti died. But the worst part, it came with a whole dance. The Notti Bop dance was wild. It mimicked getting stabbed in the stomach, basically reenacting the exact way Notti got killed.
Notti bopping, punching my hips. Like, come here, gotta do it like this.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the song and dance went viral. TikTok picked it up, and before long, teachers, kids, celebrities, NBA players, even some cops were all doing the dance, completely unaware of what it actually meant.
Notti bopping, punching my hips. Like, come here, gotta do it like this. Don't.
But for the people who knew, it was nothing short of brutal.